Hey folks, welcome back to our Battle Poker Summer League Season 1 here. This is our Week 4 Table 1. Just so y'all know, this was the table that we live streamed on the night of the league, but unfortunately we had some technical difficulties, so we are here re-recording and re-streaming this for your viewing pleasure. So I am joined here by Concordia, my co-caster. Concordia, how you doing tonight, man?
Good. How are you doing, Bati?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
All right, I'm excited to check out this game again.
Yeah,
So
I'm
we
gonna be honest, I don't remember a whole lot of what happened, so it's gonna be like watching the game for the first time all over again.
right away. So the Goof Man with the 10 wild cards folding that out after Sylvanas raises. So let's see what happens. We'll 0-2 call with the Liberators.
With 6 Liberators, I don't think you really make this call on hand number 1. Everybody's got those first-hand jitters. It's just not quite strong enough. You assume that a raise of 7 on the first card is going to be pretty strong.
Yeah, a lot of players have been discussing, the beginning of the game, and especially if you're playing a public lobby with low elo players, you kind of just have to play conservatively in the beginning. And I think that also applies for the tournament, right? Like you've said multiple times, you can't win a poker tournament in the first hand, so makes
Yeah.
sense to fold there, I'd say.
While the antes are low, there's just not enough in the pot to really make it worth risk going all in that early. You don't want to
Absolutely.
play too aggressively unless it's actually going to be worth your while.
So here we saw Nemesis raising with the two BCs, just two, and Furtadas calling. With a pretty decent hand, I would say 25 Zealots and 10 Archons.
Yeah, Nemesis is not going to be happy if this goes to showdown. He does raise it by 4. Furtadas actually puts it down.
Yeah, that's a tough call. I'd say you have the maximum number of zealots. I think the maximum number, not the maximum, but close to maximum number of archons. That's a tough fold,
I
but he
mean,
did it.
the Zealots outside of running into something like Thors are just going to be there to tank. You're really playing the Archons at that point. Obviously, from our perspective, we knew that the Archons were probably going to win, but it's definitely a safer play to just let it go this early in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we see people just checking their first cards. Everyone getting drawing their second card here. Who do you like looking at this right now?
Nemesis folded the Archon, so I'm kind of looking at the 22 Phoenix for Sylvanas. Of course, Goof with the 19 Queens, 11 Siege Tanks, that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I
Yeah, I don't
don't
know.
think those Queens are going to go down. I might be
Yeah,
wrong, though.
well, he does have the 1/1 on the Phoenixes, but
They're lifting very effectively.
yeah,
I was
lifting very
afraid it was going to lift like
effectively.
half the Queens in one go.
Yeah, I think that the Phoenixes will easily be able to take out these queens, especially with the 1/1. The tank's obviously not doing anything for him here. But then again, the Phoenixes aren't going to have enough time to kill these tanks most likely, so I think we're going to see
No,
a split pot here.
easy split putt.
All right, and once
Zero
again, yeah, 0-2 with the Phoenixes.
14 Vikings for Goofman this time around.
Yeah, the 3/3 Zerg, not really benefiting anyone. Furtadas would have the 4/4, but I don't know if he's actually going to play that hand, yeah.
Metalcore this time with 24 DTs. Going to be an easy split if he goes in with them.
Yeah, in fact, if 0-2 is the only one he would actually split against, but I think 0-2 will play this hand.
Well, remember that the Vikings will not land against DTs.
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
That's
but the
true.
Marines are well, 10 Marauders against 32 Marines. Yeah, Marines probably win that. Might not be a split. But of course, since he folded, now we know it is.
Yeah, another split pot for us here. Not too much action yet. No one winning big yet. Just kind of splitting the antes between whoever decides to actually go in. Small bets too, but
Whoa, couple of big hands here. Sylvanas with 8 carriers, Metalcore with 8 BCs.
yes. But there are the 1/1 upgrades here, which I definitely think will favor Metalcore. Depends on how many, there's a lot that it's hard to say exactly how the BCs will match up against the carriers here. without seeing the second cards. But now that we do see the second cards,
Oh wow, 25 muta as well for metalcore. That's a huge hand.
yeah, I think the what's going to be the decider of this pot though will be how these storms land here.
Yeah, the High Templar are going to make or break this hand. If the mutas can dodge it, then I think the BCs are going to have an easy win. With these Tempests in the hand, it's anybody's game. Goofman needs to survive these Yamatos. Looks like they're mostly going off on Sylvanas. Or the EMPs might have taken out the energy. I didn't quite see it. I was looking at these Tempests.
Yeah, Goofbag got a great position here. We can see the BCs and the carriers fighting each other, and the Tempest just off on the side, able to do their massive damage and kind of clear everything out without taking much damage themselves. And I think that Goofman will be able to take down this hand despite having what looks like on paper not the strongest set of cards.
And I mean, this is a pretty big pot. This is a 55 bet pot on the second blind level. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, Goofman taking a strong lead now with that win there. Almost at 200 gold. Well above Nemesis at second place with his starting amount of gold, 125.
0-2 with the DTs this time. No counters on the board except possibly for the 14 wild cards that Metalcore has. Furtadas already folded the disruptors that could have shot him.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with these wild cards. Oh,
Uh-oh, Infestors just came out.
yeah, 0-2 is probably not going to be too happy about that once he sees Metalcore raising 12 with the wild cards and Infestors. Let's see if 0-2 calls. I mean, I feel like he has to call in that position. He has suited cards. 20 Stalkers also not too bad.
Fairly small bet. You're getting about 4-1 on a call, which is pretty close to what you need to play DTs profitably, I believe. I know the last time I did the math, it was roughly a 30% chance of having a counter, so as long as you're getting at least 3-1, it should be roughly a profitable call.
Hmm. Well, the DT's not all getting kills, so we will see a split bot here. Obviously, the four flying units from the wild cards are not going to be able to be hit down by the DTs, so I think 0-2 is probably happy with that break when he saw what he was playing against.
Let's see, a couple of decent hands here. Metalcore with 15 Oracles, 13 Lurkers for Goofman, 17 Wish.com Ravens for Sylvanas, puts him down.
Yeah, none of these players with a particularly strong hand, at least on their first card. Of course, right when I say that, Nemesis draws
And
8 battle
Nemesis
cruisers.
binks the battle cruisers. Never know what you're going to draw, folks.
So this will easily be his hand to take if anyone stays in the pot with him. Corruptors are a good anti-air unit, but you need a considerable
A
number more than
lot
the amount
more
of
than what he's
BCs.
got there for the BCs.
Yeah. Yamato's going down, just almost one-shotting these Corruptors. And of course, these Oracles stand absolutely no chance.
No, not at all. They're just going to clump up and dance around in the middle while they get pew-pewed down. Oh, Nemesis once again, 6 battle cruisers this time around. Uh-oh. Sorry, we're back at it. All right, Nemesis this time with 6 BCs. Man, those BCs popping up everywhere.
Yeah, no kidding. The Sylvanas might be tempted to play these 10 Brood Lords, but little do they know what they would be up against. Yeah, raising 3, Nemesis re-raising
Nemesis
back.
makes the min raise after Sylvanas makes the min raise. That's a really fishy kind of play. You're really signaling the strength of your hand. Like, I don't know how I feel about that play by Nemesis. Maybe it
Yeah.
was a misclick.
Well, either way, Crook surrendered from Sylvanas when they realized that they would have no chance against all these units, especially considering they had no anti-air.
And that's why you don't bet so small when you have a big hand. Big bets for big hands so that you win a big pot. He only won 45 chips off of that 6 BC hand.
I hear we see a nice amount of Terran units. Thors, Vikings being folded, but we see the Liberators.
Liberators with the 4 X-rays.
Yeah.
Oh, got a little sound going this time, yeah. Goofman deciding what to do with the Thors. They're not going to have fun with those Liberators, I don't think. But with 25 queens to back them up,
Yeah.
I
I think
think
in
I actually like the queens in front here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think putting the Thors in front is the Queens are going to take so long to get into the battle, and ideally, Thors are doing a lot more damage, DPS at least, than the Queens. So
Exactly.
you want to have the Queens in front to just tank those shots. But we do see
Goofman
the
puts
Thors.
Metalcore all in.
Yeah, we do see the Thors at the front, and oh yeah, the Liberators just instantly sieging and obliterating them. Look at that.
Yep.
And now these queens struggling to even get in range, and of course being distracted by the Reapers as well. So
I mean, the Reapers definitely did a good amount of help there against the Thors as well. So I don't know how much different it would have been if the Thors were in back, but I feel like it would have been a better shot at least taking out a few Liberators.
yeah, it might have made a difference in this battle, but I think in general you want to keep those queens. You want those queens to get in the battle and the tank.
Nothing really to write home about this time around. 11 Cyclones for 0-2, 12 Queens for Furtadas.
Yeah,
First to, oh, and it checks around. I was about to say first to bet might take it.
well, as we look
Still
at it,
a
yeah, no
pretty
one.
mediocre hand.
Yeah, I think that this is for Tadas' hand to take. Really, I mean, those Broodlords are going to be hard to kill. Where are the Broodlords? Up there at top? Yeah, yes. They're just hanging out. Queen's providing some cover. You do have that one pesky Ultralist taking out a couple of the Queens, but... Although we do have the Ravager Biles going down and the Phoenix is coming up in, so maybe that will be enough. The Queens are dying, so... Tricatus loses the anti-air, and it gives the Phoenixes the opportunity to finish off these Broodlords.
Easy peasy. 24 chip pot for Goofman. Not too bad. Puts him
Yeah,
almost back to a starting stack.
yeah, he did have the 3-3 there. There was the 2-2 on the table, plus the double Protoss suited, so... I think that put him over the edge. Without the 3-3 upgrades, I think that battle would have gone a lot differently.
Metalcore just calls with the 24 queens. Nemesis makes the initial raise with the 18 DTs. What's Goofman gonna do with his Hellbats?
Yeah,
Lets
fold
him
up.
go, yeah. Well, 18 DTs is definitely going to be enough to take out these queens. It's going to be a matter of does it go to showdown. Nemesis with the min raise once again, just taking down these. Like he's only building small pots with these big hands.
Yeah, I guess he's just trying not to scare people out, and I think he will be able to take this out. I don't think these stores are gonna die in time.
Well, the issue with switching to like a small ball gear when you're getting all these hands is that you have to be cognizant of your own table image. If you're getting run over by the deck, you should be raising like a madman just to try to take advantage of that so that if you do get looked up, A, you're winning a big pot, and B, you are showing down like a really strong hand when you do get called. But the rest of the time, when you're going crazy with your bets and people are folding out, you're not showing down all these crazy strong hands, and people just think that you're going crazy as a general rule. So that when you do continue to make these big hands, you're going to get called on them later on. You're
Right,
conditioning your opponents, is the idea.
right. We saw none of the Thors were in their AoE mode, so they were not able to do nearly enough damage to those Medivacs there. I think maybe if they had been put into AoE mode when the Medivacs all stacked up, they could have done a lot more damage, and maybe he could have taken the pot, but he didn't have much time left by the time all the Queens were dead.
Yeah.
So 0-2 forcing everyone out of that pot.
Yeah, not much to write home about on this one besides the 81 banelings that Goofman has. Should be enough to crush pretty much everybody else's hand all together at the moment.
Yeah, we don't see any air units either, so of course the Goofman doesn't know that. And only one air unit being drawn this by anyone, the Banshees for Fritatis. So
We do have 10 DTs for Nemesis once again. The only counters being the the Banelings and the Disruptors.
and the High Templar.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even see the High Templar.
Yeah, so Goofman's actually in a quite strong position here to just take everything out. Yeah, we're gonna see that right
Yeah,
now.
here comes the wave
Boom.
of green. Still a few left over. Didn't even need a storm.
Yeah. I think Banelings are kind of an interesting card of this game. Obviously, the whole point of this game is to have some units in the, on the battlefield by the time the timer ends, if you're
Hmm.
going for a draw, and the Banelings suicide themselves. So typically, at first glance, maybe not the best unit, but in heads up against some ground units, if you have something else that, can kind of stay alive, I think they can be quite strong, as we just saw.
I'm pretty sure 100 Banelings on the ground will beat anything except Infestors and High Templar.
Mm.
I'm trying
Even
to think of anything else.
so, here
Tanks
we
won't
see.
do it. I don't know. I'd have to see. I'd have to look through a list of units and see if there's anything else. But I'm pretty sure Infestors and High Templar are going to be able to really beat Banelings.
Maybe it's time to go into the unit tester later and see and do a little bit of experimenting. But for Tadas here, easily clearing up that hand with fight with an amazing hand, 22 wild cards plus 20 Dark Templar. I don't think there's much of a better
Ooh,
hand that you could really see there.
definitely up there.
And have Nemesis with some decent draws here, getting 10 Liberators. Certainly is what the hand to beat right now.
And he finally makes it a good 3x raise. This is a pretty standard raise sizing. I like to see it. Offering his opponents 4-1 to call on the first card, so it's not an insignificant bet, but it's small enough to where you can call with a decent range of cards, and probably still your opponents are going to be calling with a range low enough to where you can beat them with the 10 Liberators.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Goofman actually calls for these Hellions. Yep, there we go.
Metal Core this time with the 8 battle cruisers.
And Goofman with the 14 Liberators, so I expect both of them to play this hand.
Looks like a lot of the good hands are staying kind of in the upper right corner of the table.
Yeah,
Must
I'm
be
sure.
the lucky seat.
Sylvanas raising with a Swarm Host. That's interesting. And drawing the 17 Ravens afterwards, though, so that's a nice pickup.
All a part of having a balanced ranged. Wow. You don't want to always make the same play with every hand that you like. You want to switch it up every once in a while because if you always raise with ravens, for example, everybody's going to know when you raise, ravens are on the board. If you check, they're going to know that there's no way that you have ravens, or if you call, they know that there's no way you have ravens. If you mix it up and just check call every once in a while, you're going to mix people up and make some money.
Oh, some beautiful hits from the Ravens there. But will they have enough energy now to get a couple more shots off on these BCs?
Only 9 ravens left as we wait for them to regenerate mana. 8 now.
I think, yeah, almost
Down
getting
to
enough
3.
energy back. Don't know exactly how much energy they had there when they died, but not enough. And we're going to watch these BCs meander over and have no time to finish off the Storm Host. So a nice split pot there.
Fritatis this time with 23 Vikings, 16 Oracles for Metal Core, 15 Hydras for Nemesis, and 9 Void Rays for Sylvanas. You have to imagine with Sylvanas' chip stack, she's going to find a way to get this all in.
Yeah, absolutely. Timeout there from Fritatis. Must be a little distracted.
I think I like the min raise from Sylvanas because it sets up a very good pot size for almost a pot size shove on the second card.
Yeah, but I feel like as the opponents, if you see someone with such a low stack doing a min raise, that's got to set off alarm bells that they have a good hand, right?
Potentially. It could also just be that they are trying to get to a cheap showdown and knock out a few of the other drawing hands that are going to stick around if you check. So it may just be kind of to thin the pot. In particular, Nine Void Ray's pretty strong, but not like a master crazy hand. However, with the seven carriers behind it, that definitely changes things.
Yeah, Metalcore calling and instantly regretting it. I guess he was hoping that the Liberators, Savants had something on the ground and the Liberators would do their magic, but as soon as he
Mhm.
saw those double flying Protoss units, that went out the window. Apparently he thought they had Dark Templar. Now we see 0-2 with the 6 battle cruisers and re-raising Nemesis with them,
Still on
as
the
you
right
might
side of the
expect.
table, I'd like to point out.
Yep. Sylvanas did break your streak in the last hand, but aside from that,
Very
I'd
true.
say that the right side of the table is definitely being favored. Maybe we have to talk to Skelly about that.
There was definitely a point during my battle poker career where I hated being spawned as the eighth position because I just automatically lost in that position every game that I played. And even though spawning in last position is pretty good in that like you get to act last on the very first hand, you get to see what everybody else is going to do if there's any crazy all ins or anything like that. I just couldn't convert it into anything reasonable above like fourth place.
It was 0-2 taking down that pot and sitting on top of our lobby with 192 gold. We're 30 minutes into this game and we still see everyone here. We did start short with only 6 players, but
Lines are getting high though. We're going to see some fireworks very shortly.
and now we'll have to see. Now this is a hand where in normal StarCraft you would easily be able to win this as the Zerg if you microed your Hydras under the carriers and did some target firing. But in Battle Poker, with no micro, the carriers are easily able to clear up all those light units.
You're at the mercy of the AI. Whatever it decides to attack, you just have to sit there and watch and hope for the best.
Yeah, and the two armor on the tanks not providing nearly enough protection against these carriers. The Nemesis cleans up that hand, wins 80 gold.
19 Corruptors for Metalcore, 9 Ravens for Goofman, 9 Tempest for Sylvanas.
Yeah, I think Sylvanas is going to be tempted to play this, but I don't know if it's actually going to go well for them.
It's not going to go well at all.
Kind of surprised Goofman folds those Ravens. And Metalcore going all in with the Corruptors, drawing some Hellions. So
Could
yeah,
see
we're
a
gonna.
split pot here.
Yeah, I think so. These Corruptors should have no problem with the Tempests, but the Lurkers should have no problem with the Hellions. So definitely gonna see a split pot. Just as Sylvanas points out in the chat, I win ground, you win air.
Nice split. Metalcore still in the game.
Yeah, that was a big pot.
Yeah, Goofman slides down into last place just by a few chips here. Picks up 17 Ravens for the trouble, though, so let's see if he gets it all in here.
Yeah, he definitely needs to make some action happening. So doing the min raise, again, kind of what we were discussing before.
Yeah.
You're not in the best position and doing that min raise. I feel like that signals to your opponents that you're just trying to buy them in because you know you have a strong hand.
Because Goofman has been so passive lately, I feel like the min raise is a bad idea. When you've been more active, the min raise can potentially get through. and throw off your opponents as to the reasoning behind your min raise. But when you've been sitting around folding for the majority of the game, and then you just suddenly wake up with a min raise while the antes are significant, it becomes a little more obvious what you got going on. And there it is. Nemesis calls it out by the min raise, or by the sorry, what's a raven?
All right, everyone getting drawn their second card. I think 0-2 is going to be happy that no one raised early and forced him to
Rosalie
fold
okay?
because he just got those 25 wild cards.
So far,
Most, the
he
the
says he
largest
just
amount
got
of
back
wild
into
cards you
town
can
and
get.
wants to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Best chance
Put
to
him on the
roll
phone.
something incredible and just crush your opponents
Cutting
with
out
it.
the middleman.
Yeah, I'm really big on the wild cards. I think maybe a little bit bigger than you are,
Nick,
Buddy. I feel
how
like I
are
get
you?
really excited, and you're like, yeah, they're good, but
On average, they're pretty alright. The problem is that sometimes they're amazing and sometimes they're also just crap. And
Yep.
you have to take the good with the bad.
So let's see what's happening here. This is a tough fight to call with so many different units. But I think that 0-2 has this. He has some detection. Yep, the Raven there detecting for the DTs, giving him an easy win for that pot.
Very nice.
So now 0-2 in quite a strong, dominant first place position, 256 gold, followed up in second with Nemesis only at 120. So 0-2 has to be feeling pretty happy with how this game is going right now.
Yeah, Furtadas in dire straits. Unfortunately, this would have been a great hand for him to shove if it checked around, but with him being in first position, he simply doesn't have that option. And by the time it comes around to the next hand where he will be in last position, he's not going to have the chip stack to shove to bluff with. So he's really at the mercy of the cards right now. Either he's going to get something good and double up, or he's just going to be the first one out. However, it looks like this hand's getting a little aggressive. Metalcore bringing himself down to just 15 chips behind.
Yeah, I'm liking Metalcore's position in this hand though right now. The 25 queens, 15 ravagers, that's quite strong anti-air actually. You can see these vials going down on top of the Void Rays and the BCs, just taking them out, and the queen's strong anti-air attack also. Just making this an easy cleanup for Metalcore.
Nice hand by the Goof Man. Furtadas picks up the 11 disruptors. Unfortunately, there are battle cruisers on the board. Depends on how 0-2 is going to play them. But this should be an all-in for Furtadas, I believe. Wow, he finds a fold with the disruptors.
Yeah, disruptors are a new unit. I think some of our players are still trying to decide for themselves how they feel about it. And obviously, Furtadas showing us he does not value them that highly. But that is surprising. I agree. Disruptors, I think they're one of the strongest ground units in the game right now, especially given the fact that they'll kite themselves all the way to the wall and kind of stay out of the action.
Exactly. Besides the fact that they do insane DPS and splash damage to anything on the ground, they just don't die. Anything that's going to try to kill them has to chase them down across the entire arena, wasting precious seconds.
Yeah, and Alphatos really putting himself in a very tight position. He doesn't after this hand, he doesn't even have enough gold to make the antes.
And he's still checking. He does have the Terran 2-2 on his side with 13 Cyclones, but I mean, at this point, the Cyclones are good enough. Just get it in and pray for the best.
Yeah, I think he's playing this a little too carefully. And folding, wow. Yeah, that's a really tough decision to make. He's
That
just
is a
making.
very tight fold. I can't imagine an opponent at a six-handed table that would make me want to fold the 13 Cyclones in that position. It doesn't matter if I'm against the tightest player that just raised me. I would have to go all in with that.
Yeah.
And remember that we were still on the first card as well. You can draw, you never know when you're going to draw 25 Ravens on your second card. So For that amount, it should have gone in, but to each their own.
Yep. They're taking that down with the realists. And well, let's see, Furtas with the 24 Hydras. So that's pretty decent hand to get.
Need something to put in front of him, but it's a promising start for an all-in hand.
Yeah.
Sylvanas all-in as well, unfortunately only with 8 adepts.
Yeah, Sylvanas is not going to be happy with this hand. It's going to be a tough hand to go out on. Cross, on the other hand, has a decent hand going, but I don't know if anyone's actually going to be able to beat Nemesis with the 11 Void Rays and the Liberators, which we have seen be quite strong. But we'll see.
Assume that's going to be a no as the Hydras melt away.
Yeah, I saw the concave happening. I got a little excited at first for Furtadas, but his Liberators are so strong. They just annihilate everything on the ground so quickly.
Liberator's good unit.
Here we see our first 2 knockouts of this game. As Nemesis Colossus walks around the map and takes out Sylvanas and Furtadas.
And we are down to 4-handed with Goofman nearly all in.
All right, 3-3 upgrades. So Nemesis with the 23 Marines, the large attack upgrade turns the Marines into quite a strong, at least strong DPS. We'll see what happens. 0-2 also with the 9 Ravens benefiting from that armor, so they're going to stay alive, assuming they don't blow themselves up. But Nemesis choosing to fold. I suppose that makes sense after 0-2's large raise. Marines are definitely not that good.
No, they do great DPS, but they need to be behind something tanky so they don't get shot down right off the bat.
Yeah.
Oh, those Hellbats getting right underneath those Ravens as well. The storm going off. Bye-bye most of the Ravens.
Yeah, these wild cards are going to advance and take out these swarm hosts in no time. Hellbats also staying alive. Hellbats are definitely probably one of the lowest tier cards, I would say. But they're tanky, and if you put them in front of something strong, like a decent set of wild cards, that can do the trick.
Mm-hmm. You also have to remember they do that bonus damage against light, so they did a great job of clearing out all those locusts from the swarm hosts.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's a great point. Definitely a strong card to have if you're playing against swarm hosts.
Man just can't get away from those Hellbats.
Yeah, right? Keeps drawing them. Seeing all Terran units, in fact. Metal Core just pushing everyone out. So looking at the overall standing, 0-2, 353 gold. Great position for him. Goofman
under 10 bets.
Yeah, Goofman, on the other hand, really not in the best spot. Trying to push with the 7 Void Rays. I don't know if that's going to be enough against this hand. Void Rays are good, but Thors are also quite good against air.
Well, the Thors are going to target the Zealots first, I believe. They're going to ignore the Void Rays until the Zealots are dead.
Yeah.
Let's going to see if there's enough Thors left over. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I would have liked to see him put the Thors in back. I mean, I understand the logic of putting the tanks in the back, but I think it would have worked out maybe even a little bit better for him there. Because he really needed to just focus those Void Rays down, and tanks did some friendly fire on the Thors as the Zealots charged in, so.
Yeah.
So 0-2 waking up with the 7 carriers. Let's see how he plays this.
Nemesis with roughly 5 bets left, only 5 Broodlords to his name.
So min raise from 0-2, and that forces everyone out.
Down. When you have the chips, lean on everybody. Put pressure on them.
Yeah, he might as well. And he certainly had the hand to back it up that time. So we're
Is there a
seeing both.
rule against performance-enhancing drugs?
So Goofbear getting the Terran suited with the already 1-1, so he'll have 2-2. And
Metalcore min raising again.
the only thing that I think this is Goofbear's hand, unless the Hellbats get a nice position on the Marines. And it looks like they are getting. Oh yeah, look at that. Despite the fact there are 3
yeah.
units, I'd say like what 3/4 of the Hellbats decided they wanted to go north and just annihilate all those Marines.
It didn't
Which
help that Goofman left all the Marines in the front.
yeah, I think definitely need to put those Marines in the back. Yeah, Metalcore just easily clearing this up.
That'll take it.
You definitely got lucky there, I would say. To some degree, at least, that all those Hellbats went north.
Metalcore with 19 infestors this time. About the only strong hand on the table. Metalcore raises it. Let's watch everybody else decide to fold.
Yeah, right. Oh, 0-2
Oh, 0-2
calls. Yeah,
calls.
steps.
Picks up 21 Phoenix to go with it. Interesting call. I like it, I think, with the big stack. It was only a min raise, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actually going to work out for him here, though, Bate.
No,
He's got a lot of infested Terrans and Stalkers shooting at him.
that's
He's
a
got
lot of infested Terran DPS.
look at that concave. Well, it's breaking apart a little bit now, but you just saw that semicircle of units around the Phoenixes and the Adepts, and, the Phoenixes are actually doing all right. But I don't know if they're going to have enough juice to actually clear this out, especially if we see any more infested Terrans spawn. We still have some on the ground shooting away. Yeah, these Phoenixes are done.
Nemesis and Goofman on their last leg. They need a double or a triple up here pretty soon. Goofman with 20 infestors in good position to actually do just that.
Yeah, he just needs to throw the rest of his chips in now.
I mean, you don't even have half a bet. Yeah, it's just go time. Click the button. Nemesis with the insta call. 0-2 should be calling here. Only 10 more chips into a pot of 132. Oh, he re-raises. I like it.
Oh, and he's happy he did with that second draw of the 14 Liberators behind the wild cards. Not a high number of wild cards, but those 14 Liberators well makes up for that.
A lot's going to come down to the positioning of the infested Terrans. Can they actually get underneath the Liberators and outside of their targeting circle, or are they just going to get obliterated before they can get any DPS in?
Yeah,
It looks like the infested Terrans are just going down right in the targeting circles.
Yeah, instantly zoning the center of the map and forcing anything that's trying to come in to fight them to just get obliterated. Also getting
Nemesis to try to survive now.
Also getting, he only had 8 wild cards, but he has a Thor, BC. Those are some nice cards to draw.
All those Liberators.
Yeah, those Liberators. The thing about Liberators, too, is they also have a really amazing anti-air attack when things are stacked, which as they typically are in this game. So they're just like, they annihilate the ground, but they also annihilate the air, too. Just an amazing card in BattlePoker.
There are definitely some A tier units. And with
A-tier.
that double knockout, I would say A tier, yeah.
You don't put Liberators as S?
I don't put Liberators as S.
Wow.
I think they're very high A tier, but I don't think they quite have the versatility that S tier units have. They need some support to really be able to do great against a lot of unit combinations.
Okay, this might be. I mean, I trust you, and I know you're very experienced, but this might be a place where we have to agree to disagree because I just see these Liberators constantly winning hands.
My main complaint is that they lose to other S tier units. They lose to carriers, they lose to battle cruisers, they tie with DTs. If you consider DT an S tier unit, that's debatable.
Yeah.
They lose to Ravens, things like that.
The only thing about Ravens, because I also agree that Ravens are S tier, but they just tend to blow themselves up a lot too. We see. I mean, they are great, and I think they have one of the highest win rates, but you don't see Liberators blowing themselves up at least.
Catch with Ravens, it seems to be, is that you need to have them paired with a ground unit, and the ground unit needs to be in front and preferably with some good ground speed. You need them to get out in front of the Ravens so they can block other ground units from getting underneath the Ravens and blowing themselves up.
While we were discussing the tier placement of Liberators, Metalcore
And
just
that's
won
the
the
game.
game with an amazing hand, 21 Ravens and the 12 Archons. So, wow,
Whew,
quick,
what a
quick,
game. Two
quick,
double knockouts.
yeah,
Very
quick
quick
finish
game.
there.
Well, I won't even say very quick game. For a six-handed game, this lasted just about an hour of in-game time, so we're almost right on point for what a normal game would last for.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a well length, good length of a game. But I'm just saying we went from 4 to 1 very quickly at the end there.
That we did.
So yeah, Metalcore getting the first place, 0-2, and Nemesis second and third. And of course, we have Goofman, Savas, and Furtatus filling out the rest of the positions. I think that was an exciting game, Bati. What do you think? What are your impressions?
That was some fun. We saw some good hands, or we saw plenty of good hands. We saw lots of good play. Some plays that we got to have a little discussion on, talk about, see what works, what doesn't, and yeah, this was definitely a good time.
Yeah, exciting game. Thanks everyone for tuning in and watching. We'll be back next week with our fifth week of games, and we are soon approaching our finale. There's definitely still a lot of movement left. We don't know who's going to be in that last game, so definitely tune in for these next 2 weeks to see, uh, you know, who our top 8 players end up being.
Absolutely. So hopefully we'll see y'all over the next couple of weeks for our last few games. This has been Bot D and Concordia. Thanks for tuning in. We will see y'all next week.